Okay, fine. Good afternoon, dear friends.
Our respected principal, Dr. Anil Kumar sir, our
Good afternoon,
head of the
our
department,
respected principal, Dr.
Santosh
Anil Kumar
sir,
sir, our
and dear
dear
Dilip
department,
sir, and dear
sir,
friends, those who are
dear friends,
attending
those
this
who are attending this
international webinar.
international webinar.
So, because of the network problem, we have a delay of around 10 minutes, and sorry
So,
for
because
all
of the
of
network
you.
problem, we have a delay of
But
around 10 minutes, and sorry for all
the
of you.
things we are
But
expecting going good. So,
the things we are expecting going good. So,
let us start our
let us start our
inaugural
inaugural
function.
function.
So, first
So
I
first, I
welcome our
welcome
head of the department,
Santosh sir,
for
for
welcoming
welcoming
this
this
particular function.
particular function.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Respected principal, my dear friend, and our participants, Dr. Dilip Kumar M. Sir. Good afternoon, all. As part of a series of academic programs organized by the Department of Commerce, Mahatma Gandhi College, TRIVANDRUM, during this year today, we are organizing a webinar on the topic, how do you write a high impact factor paper? The topic is more pertinent in the current economic scenario, and I congratulate you all to get a chance in participating in this event. Our college was established by Bharat Kesari Padma Bhushan Sri Manathu Padmanabhan during the year 1948, and 8 departments of our college is providing facilities to PhD programs, including our department. We have 7 research gates in our department, and about 32 scholars are pursuing their PhD program in our department, in our center. In this auspicious occasion, I directly enter into the duty which is conferred upon me here is to deliver welcome speech to all you who are participating in this webinar. First of all, I welcome our principal, Dr. M.S. Kumar sir. He is a well-profound academician, researcher, and overall a good administrator. He has a vision to lead this college in the path of curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities during his tenure. Now, I extend my hearty welcome to you, sir.
Good morning.
The next, I would like to welcome our chief guest speaker, guest of honor, Professor Dr. Dilip Kumar M. Sir. He is a professor of research, strategy, entrepreneurship, and organization behavior in Africa Business School, Muhammad VI Polytechnic University, Morocco. He is a well-profound person who is most suitable to deliver a class on our topic, on key topic. He is the man of this day, and he is the resource person, and I think he has, or he can, and he will do what we expect. Now I welcome you, sir. Next, I would like to welcome the coordinator of this event, Dr. A.S. Vinod. He is a well-profound academician, researcher, as well as a good coordinator. He took a lot of pain in organizing this webinar, and I officially welcome him also to this event. We welcome all my colleagues in the department, Dr. A.S. Dilip, Dr. N. Pradeep Kumar, Dr. S. Jaydev, Dr. Spriya, Dr. G. S. Sumesh, Dr. Hari, and Advait Radhika to this program. And I am also taking this opportunity to extend my earnest welcome to you all participants and dignitaries taking part of this event. And I once again welcome you all for this auspicious occasion and to hear more about the paper writing and how can you write the paper in high impact paper. And please make all this more fruitful and knowledgeable. Thank you. Now I welcome Dr. M.S. Kumar sir for delivering the inaugural speech. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon to everybody. And now I congratulate
the head of the Department of the Commerce, Mahatma Gandhi College, Trivandruram, and the coordinator, Dr. Vinod, for organizing this. As the head of the department has said, our college is one of the most prestigious and age-old institution in the capital city of Kerala, Tiruvandhuram. And I'm glad to inaugurate this function. And PG and Research Department of now today, the PG and Research Department of Commerce is conducting a webinar on how to write a good impact factor paper, and this topic is of very useful to all academic community in the world. See, everything has changed during the pandemic situation, and maybe this is a gift. So arranging this type of webinar may be a gift to the new academic community, maybe new to everyone in the present scenario. I'm happy to welcome Professor Dr. Dilip Kumar of African School of Mathematics, African Business School, Morocco University, as a resource person of this webinar. And again, I officially inaugurate this webinar, and I wish you all success. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So
now
I welcome Sir Dilip sir to start our session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anil sir. Thank you, Santosh sir. Thank you, what do you say? Of course, Pradeep. Vinod. Everybody, bringing you to my own land, where I born, to have this short interaction and short, what do you say, training session to everybody to get you towards the research world. And it is a great opportunity for me to do something for my land where I have born. This is my sentiments connected with this program now. And when Vinod called me, I don't hesitate to tell you that, okay, just go ahead. That's only the single statement I used. And for the world, I'm coming, doing something for that is the meaning that's attached with the life. So with a short statement, I'm planning to start my interaction. Maybe it takes 10 minutes here and there, the stretch, because the content is very high. Dr. Vinod has attended my session around, I think it's 1 or 2 days session, which happened at Cochin University. I did it in 2018 or 19. I got that was exactly the reason with which he brought me over here. And that exactly the opportunity I got to meet everybody today. So let me start. I'm not wasting my time too much. It's heavy content and a lot of learning you'll be getting. So I'm planning to finish with that process. So it's a 1.5 hour session. So maybe 1 minute and 10 minutes extra, right? Or 10 minutes less. This is the thing going to happen. So let me start this presentation today, which is more connected to. I'm going to enter my screen. If it is happening properly, kindly let me know.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can't share your screen. Sorry, error has opened. This is okay. I'm just once again.
Sir,
okay, I'm just.
You can put it in the present now.
Now you can
Put it in the present now.
Now you can see my. You are presenting the screen. Hopefully,
Yes,
it will be
it's coming,
coming
sir.
down.
It's coming.
Yes, it's coming.
Could you be able to see this?
Yes.
It's possible. Everybody
Yes,
can
sir.
see this one, right? So
Yes,
I'm just trying to catch up. All right. So this is the a title which we are going to see. I'm not going. The slides were coming from Malaysia when I was there at that time last year, but this year onwards, I'm working in a prestigious business school in Morocco, and we are Africa Business School, and we are having the program. We are highly focused into executive education program, and we are following the patterns of IMD, MIT, and Columbia University. So these are the three universities patterns we are following over here, and that's the way we are trying to groom our young graduates. So being part of this Africa Business School and being part of this region and in the world of research, I'm trying to level best to induce you the knowledge connected to high impact research. And this is exactly my accolade, which is moving up now and fully into the research patterns now. So going ahead with the interaction. So first, I will try to get you the knowledge of why we should write a paper and what are the things to be involved in that, and how it is connected to high impact, and how we can structure a paper. How we can structure a paper beautifully well. This is exactly my agenda of this session. So let me start with the questions which are connected to high impact. Why your paper? This is the first question we need to answer. Why your paper get it published fail in majority high impact papers? So they're not accepting your journal. Why it is so? This is the first question. Many factors are connected to this issue. Why your paper fail? Always look on. When I'm the editor of a journal, when I'm a part of editorial member of Bose and Scopus journal, what I'm looking upon is what is new in your work, and what are the things going to write, or what you are going to write which is relevant to the current scenario, and what you want to communicate basically to the world. That communication content is good enough to absorb to the entire world or not. Excuse me, I'm getting some voice from here, and
dear friends, please
you can.
Please.
Yeah. Right. So, is it a current or a hot topic connected with the current management field, or in climate change, or any kind of artificial intelligence, or which are the buzzwords now? Are you writing something connected with that? Have you provided solutions to some difficult situations or not, or is it the time to read? A lot of questions we need to ask when you have to publish an article. So. Did you ever ask these questions to yourself? This is the question. When you write a paper, did you ever ask these questions like, what is new in your work? What are you trying to write? What are you trying to elaborate? And what you want to communicate to the world, which is the world is waiting to understand it? Or is it a hot topic? Hot topic means that which is continuously discussing now. Currently, it is having high relevance. If you ask me, the best of topics, which your climate change is one good topic, which is discussing. SDGs are discussing now. COVID-19 is discussing now. Changing operating models of business is discussing now. The commerce and trade fluctuations, changing equations of trade and commerce is discussing now. A lot of things are discussing now. Changes in the supply chain, changes in the marketing, changes in consumer analytics. A lot of things are the buzzword connected to COVID-19 impact. It's a thing the journal is expecting to reach to the world through their pen. So if it is not there, they will definitely try to reach it to you. So always think about when you write an article or a research paper, what are the new perspectives you are trying to put into your paper, and new frameworks, new approaches, new measurements. If you have anything you built up to measure something which is different from the past, new observations, new findings, all these factors influencing your paper. So the rule of thumb here in this context is always remember, publication is not that automatic. A good research is exactly leading to good publication. So you cannot publish directly a paper to a journal. What you have to think is how I can do a good research. How I can do a good research. So always remember, a good research is leading to good publication. So if you can provide a sensational research, chances of acceptance very high. What is this sensational? If you try to connect a COVID-19 now, look at the remote working possibilities. Look at the virtual space and look at the social isolation issues, look at the social distractions happening at home and how it is affecting the productivity. All factors, if you look into consideration. Yes, it is part and parcel of the sensational themes. But you know one thing, most papers which are neither into the gray, that means neither into the best zone nor into the bad zone, they are into a gray zone, which can go to publication, which cannot. So the question here, context is why the papers are rejected. You need to understand why the papers get rejected. Once you understand the rejection formula, rejection equation, you can easily understand the success equation or critical success factors. So this is a journey of this publication. I'm getting heavy disturbance from some of the microphone and things. Can you switch off your speaker for a while? Okay, now it's okay. So why papers are rejected? Several reasons are coming. The first reason is that issues are not important or sensational. And it is away from originality, means that the topic is very relevant and it is novel and is original in the context to the industry, and there is less gap between the practice and the theory. And take an example: if you write a paper and which you are telling about an application of a theory, but the issue here is how that theory is suitable to industrial solutions. If that theory is not a solution, of course academically it is right, but it is not right for practice. Please, once again, I'm repeating, please switch off the microphone. It's getting heavy, indicate that it is highly away from the practical implications. We have to look at the implications which is generating through the research, like practical implications, policy implications, or managerial implications, social implications, technical implications, legal implications, a lot of implications which are to be communicated to the stakeholders. And the stakeholders are waiting for that kind of knowledge. And it is 100% original in nature and it's new to the world and nobody knows it or very less knowledge about it. And a lot of papers are not journal oriented. It means that journal has its own structure. It starts with a beautiful title, followed by abstract, followed by keywords, introduction, literature review, research questions, research gaps, connecting to conceptual frames, leading towards objectives, hypothesis, coming to that methodology, from the methodology going towards the analytical part, from the analysis leading to discussion, leading to implications, leading to conclusion, any kind of future orientation you would like to give to the audience or the readers, give it to that, acknowledgements, anything or not, then coming to the references and appendix. There is a structure to be followed by each journal. And the referencing style and likewise, you need to look on that. If it is not appropriate, definitely they will reject you. So most important thing is the data you are collecting. Every research is depending not on any other aspect, how you get the data, whether the data is credible, dependable, confirmable, and transferable. Credible, dependable, confirmable, and transferable. So these factors are exactly the matter with which the data is right or not to accept into consideration of a high impact volume of observations or not. All right. So if the data is not, or if the data is old or now irrelevant, they don't accept you. And the results are doubtful. You know that spurious results are coming with haphazard way of analysis. Without doing the measurement model, you are going to structural model. Without doing the analysis of the items and its applications connected to the factors and the field, you're going for analysis. So this kind of gaps are existing in writing research papers, hence because it is get rejected. And the conflict of interest. Take an example, you write a case study in a company. And after that, you are trying to publish it. So they will ask you, do you have any conflict of interest with the company? Because you're going to publish some sensational data or sensitive data, will you allow or not? All right. So if the company is not allowing, you cannot publish that document. Second thing, there are different authors, maybe 4 to 5 authors may be there. They may compete with each other for the first position, second position, third position, fourth position, and likewise. If you have a conflict between each other, then you cannot publish that. So a lot of conflict of interest coming up between the authors, a lot of coming with a field, what you have collected. Take an example, qualitative research. In qualitative research, respondent's language is most important thing. Participant language is most important thing. So if once you confirm your reflections and you go back to the same person and tell, yesterday you told me all these things, can I confirm it? Can I confirm it? So they may know, if they don't confirm it and you published it, there is a conflict of interest with the respondents. So a lot of issues you need to settle down when you have to look at publications. So there are ethical issues also. Can I release the document? If it is a sensational issue, it's going to affect the strategic positioning. If it is affecting the competitive positioning in the market and likewise, they will definitely don't allow you to publish it. So we need to look at the disguised data, disguised way of information, not putting the company into the company names or something, should not be. So there are a lot of general reasons connected with that. If you look upon scientific reasons why the papers get rejected, basically it is connected with poor research design. Because yesterday I was having a faculty development program, which is happening on 7 days in one of the university in India. Every week I'm taking around 1.5 hours for that university. I was exactly sharing one content that how to look at your methodology section of your paper. So it starts with a philosophy, research philosophy designed based on the ontology. Based on the ontology, it designed whether we should go with a subjective reality or you should go with an objective reality. That decide your approach of investigation. We call it as epistemology. So your ontology and epistemology is not right, definitely your research design going to affect. Whether you can follow the cross-section study design or you can follow the longitudinal study design, all the things decided by the philosophy and the reality. So a lot of issues connected with the design. I will be explaining all these things coming time. Hypothesis of the research is unclear and weak. You know that many times I'm around 28 to 31 universities. I am external foreign examiner of PhD program in India and abroad. So when I'm getting a thesis for evaluation, I'm looking upon the hypothesis, how the researcher has come up with the hypothesis assumptions. These assumptions are clearly connected with the philosophy. If the philosophy is not right, then your methodology and the methods are not fine-tuned. Hence, you're trying to come up with an assumption which is not connected with a belief system. The belief system is like, can I explore it or can I explain it? This is the belief system. So based on that, if you cannot explain, you cannot come with an hypothesis. What number of hypotheses? Hypothesis is not at all coming if you cannot explain the concepts properly, if you cannot relate the concepts properly, and if you cannot arrive at the research gaps properly. So here there is a big problem, and no connect between hypothesis you generated and the gaps you have identified. No relationship at all. So chances of rejection very high. Sample biased or too small, very small, nowadays, PLS, partially square structural equation modeling, if the sample size is less also you can do, but I don't suggest usually to do that. Bootstrapping methods and likewise, you can compensate it. But getting a respondent, appropriate respondent, and talk to that person, understand the feelings and emotions connected with that person, and come back and jot it down. This is most important. So if the sample size is very less many times, you cannot arrive at, because a lot of standard errors. Take an example, when you're going to field with a questionnaire, you're asking a question to a respondent. And if your tone variation itself is not right, you are asking arrogantly or you are asking impolitely. They will tell you back impolitely itself. Right. So the most important, even the tone variation, the time you're asking an interview question itself is standard error. The item validity, item reliability, all these things you need to get into track. If it is not, you cannot extend your study into larger extent. All right. Then another thing is statistics. The thing is that the analysis measures of central tendency or measures of dispersion or significant test, the way you have chosen that test. Take an example, if it is variation, ANOVA, if it is significant test, t-test, if it is significant difference, t-test, if it is more connected with prediction, regression, if it is connected with relation, correlation. So every statistics has its own psychometric and quantitative properties. They have to do that. So if you don't understand it properly, haphazardly, if you do the statistics, no, journals are not going to accept. It's a spurious kind of statistical applications. And the most important thing, when I'm evaluating the theses of Indian theses, I'm seeing that total 300 pages of a thesis, 225 pages will be analysis. That's not the way to do the thesis. If you want to be a real research scholar, the most beautiful portion you have to show your skill is discussion portion. Analysis is maximum 20-30 page sufficient. Why you have to write it on filled up with all graphs and charts and likewise not required. The most important thing is how the findings are relevant to particular sector or a company or a department, and how it's going to affect the people working, how it is affecting the trade and commerce, how it is affecting the management decisions. This is most important thing. So you are not discussing the portion properly. So every hypothesis you have selected for the study, every 10 hypotheses there, 10 hypotheses you need to discuss properly with the pros and the cons, with the past research findings and the present scenarios and likewise. If you don't do that, you will be out. You cannot make proper, impact on your observations you have made on the variables relationship. Lack of citations. You write a lot of things, but you don't cite it properly. I'm telling you many times to my students also, don't do that. In the sense that when you have to write, if you're taking somebody's content, give that credit to that person. It's not our property. At least cite it properly. And citation, if it is, take an example, you start a research in 2020. All right, you are finishing your research maybe by 2024 or 23 or 24. When you stop that, so almost remember, when you start with the research, you start with 2015 onwards, your literature review, maybe reasoned by 2018 and above. But when you reach to 2024, you can see the difference between the time you are presenting the study and the time you have collected the data is 7 to 8 years difference. It's outdated already. It's outdated. So a literature review and likewise, it should be very reasoned, except on certain classical theories, which are coming from the past, which are still used by the research scholars. So we need to look at that things properly. All right. So lack of citation is one factor. Reasoned citations needed. Conclusions unjustified. There is a big difference between introductory part of or abstract introduction and conclude. It's closely connected. So you need to look at the connectivity between introducing the topic to the layman and how you're going to conclude it. There is a tactic behind it. And if you don't understand this justification properly, you won't be able to convince your editor. Right? References are outdated. I told you maximum 2 years gap only. Maximum 2 years gap. And if it is beyond that, many good journals, especially Elsevier, Emerald, CH, Willis, this Springer, this public publishers, they never accept you. So they want the reason data. Always look at, and don't go for 1993, 2000, 2010 and likewise. I may suggest you to go with 2018 or 19 and above. right? So styles are not strictly followed. The last one, which is called it can be when you do the referencing pattern, we do expect the style of writing. Take an example when you make a APA style, American Psychological Association style, and likewise inside the content also, people think that it is only in the reference we have to follow the APA style. No, in the content, when you write a content inside the paper, also to take an example, the first paragraph you have to touch in the what you would say the side. It should not be a paragraph one, and the second paragraph should hang from the first paragraph. So it should be hanging pattern. And likewise, first paragraph touch the two sides, second hanging. And when you write that what you would say the authors inside the bracket and authors outside the bracket is different. Inside the bracket you can use ampersand, and outside you have to use and. So all kinds of these kind of small things which we need to follow in the case of referencing style. So all these scientific reasons with which your paper gets rejected. Another is presentation style. Poorly organized patterns, badly written, careless errors, terrible tables. A table should be properly exhibited, and you will be getting a lot of guidelines from the journal itself, how to structure your paper. You never read that and you just publish it into their journal. This is not the way to do that. You need to look at what's the space, what is the title's font, and what exactly the size of the table legend or table heading. Or inside the table, what is the size? Outside the table, what is the size? All kinds of small nitty-gritties you need to identify. And good journals don't have the time to. Last day, one of my best friend who is recently joined in my campus, Dr. Vijay Gupta, and he is ERA chair. And he was telling, Prof. Dil, you know that 93,000 papers are in my mobile phone, 93,000 forever. He is the editor of many journals and amazing journal, and its impact factor is maybe around 12 or 13 or 14 or 15 high level impact he is publishing papers. And he was showing, you know that this 93 papers I cannot evaluate it because I never touched that paper, because there are color coding. When you submit a paper, there is color coding to the editor. So yellow is there, red is there, green is there. So only that green paper only he will put some time to look at it, whether it is movable for a processing or not. Red means that you're maybe around 70 to 80% plagiarism. And yellow means that maybe around 40 to 60% plagiarism. Green means that which is below 10%. So he never touched that paper. They can revise it, they can do that, all these things till the time they want. Only assistant editors or the people who are in the administration will look into that. You should understand this logic. So always remember, always these kind of errors to be eliminated at the time. Presentation styles, all these things, you need to look into that. Tables, the graph, and the content inside, all these things are very important. And outdated or improperly cited references, kindly avoid it. So another reasons I can tell you, which is not connected with your scientific thing or general things or some sort of presentations or some other are similar manuscript already accepted and awaiting for publication. If you write almost a similar topic which has been accepted by a journal for its review and the paper is under the process, definitely they're not going to accept it, because similar papers are available, not because of your paper doesn't have any quality or something, they may not accept it. Second, a similar manuscript in the pipeline of journal's review process. Accepted is one factor. Then second is review process. It's already started the review, similar topic. Take an example, impact of entrepreneurial orientation on entrepreneurial intention. Okay, so that topic is widely researched and reviews are going on. And one more, they're not interested to add up. So assistant level itself, they will reject your paper. Does the journal have the sufficient space available to accommodate the article? Take an example, commentaries. When you write the commentaries and likewise, hardly they will allow you 1,000 to 2,000 words. If it is a journal, management journals, maybe 5,000 words.
Some of the good journals, they may provide you 7,000 words. Recently, I got an invitation from a Q1 journal to write a paper on hospitality and connected to the mental issues connected with the people who have been terminated from hospitality industry. So when I was writing, they told me that it can goes up to 10,000 words, no problem. So you need to look at the word limit properly. All right. So how much space available a journal allocated for one issue means that this 100-page divided into 10. So 10 papers they can accommodate maximum. So if you don't follow that pattern of 10 page, strictly follow straight, they will reject you. If you write 15 pages and they don't have the time to look at it. It's simply because you didn't follow the guidelines. So follow the guidelines properly. Have authors published similar? Okay. Have related journals recently covered? The topic is covered recently in other issues. Volume 14, issue 1, similar kind of paper has come. Then volume 14, 2 or 3 or 4, they are not going to accept similar kind of papers. So always genuine, original and novel papers will be accepted. So always try to understand this logic. You should look at it. And another trick I can tell you that don't put all your eggs in the same basket. Means that if you put all the papers in Emerald, if you put all the papers in Willis, all the papers in Sage, all the papers in Elsevier, you know that if one started rejection, it's starting continuous rejection is coming up. So what you have to do is that look at the best possible publishers and put one paper there, one paper here, one paper. And every time, remember this trick, every time at least 7 research publications should be in the market. Means that in the market means in different 7. So when one publish, you can add up one more. One publish, you can add up. So every year you will get publications, 1 or 2. It takes around minimum 1 year duration for a good publication. So it takes around 2 to 3 times reviews and likewise. Don't think that I am also an exception. And being in the world of this research, many times I'm getting many reviews. I take it very positive. Why? Because this is the absolute criticism one can make on my research and it's going to improve. It's going to improve. So I'm looking upon the positive trend of this improvement and I'm trying to submit it, resubmit it. No problem. Resubmit it and I will get it accepted. So perseverance is an attitude. Don't get your ego hurt by rejections coming from a field or a journal editor and likewise. You can clarify with them what are the possible factors with which they will definitely clarify you back. So if one fails, it is not a total disaster. Have studies at different stages of completion. Collaborate in another people projects also, but don't end up doing all the work. All right. So this is the most important thing. Work on different projects simultaneously and put the papers into different journals. So the question is where to publish our papers. So a valued journal. What is a valued journal? You look at the quality of the journal. You look at the editorial board. A lot of editorial boards are spurious in nature. It's fake in nature. So you need to understand who are the people behind this journal. Who are the editorial board members? Whether a journal is having more international, different countries and likewise, it gives you more mileage of your reading. Time of publication, how long it would be taking. Usually I'm telling you minimum 6 months to 1.5 years. 6 months to 1.5 years is exactly the time taken for a good publication. Don't think that you are only the person sending from all over the world for this publication and the journals, thousands and thousands of papers are getting, millions of papers getting. So that particular time, you need to understand one thing. At the earliest, you put in the basket, slowly, it will be coming into the picture, reviews, corrections, and likewise. And good journals never ask you money. Good journals never ask you money. So you need to wait for their, the activities and likewise. So you need to have the patience also. Then journal circulation. If another is the best of the journals, their circulation is very high. So in that particular case, you need to look at, is it only the journal coming from India? Is it coming from Malaysia? Is it coming from Morocco? Is it coming from, or it is spread across the globe? Look at that. That gives you more citations, that give you more acceptability of your observations and kind of criticisms as well as feedback to you, and more visibility. This is exactly the crux of what you would say journal writing. So you have to look at all these aspects to arrive at selection of a proper journal. So there are different types of papers you can see, different types of papers connected with that. So first type of paper is called as research papers. This is most important thing, original research. It can be qualitative paper, it can be quantitative paper, it can be mixed method paper, it can be a lot of things possible. So here, the kind of research may vary depending on your field. It can be through interviews, focus group discussions, or phenomenology. It can be through statistics, experiments, and surveys. So it can be quantitative paper through experiments. It can be qualitative paper through interviews. Everything possible. The most important thing is how much genuine your issues are and how much novel information you are digged out from that particular field and projecting to the world. And the world is not aware about it. Authors need to collect and analyze data, and the research paper will be based on the analysis and interpretation of the data, right? So the research paper is the major paper. It is structured paper. Starts with a problem, a strong problem formulation, research questions, research objectives, hypotheses, connecting to all what you would say measurements, methodology, sampling, design, sampling, philosophy, all the things systematically you have to mention. Then only that will be counted as a research paper. And this is highly valid in the world of research. All right. And the second type of paper is called as white paper. White paper, usually they don't publish in journals, but you can try. Take an example, a lot of white paper is a conceptual paper, and it is basically for the discussion, and you have to do strong marketing work before you write a paper. Recently, I wrote a paper on reflective leadership in crisis period. So what kind of leadership approach you can have when the companies are going through a crisis period, or what kind of leadership patterns you need to follow. So we cannot follow a kind of transformational, transcendental, or transactional leadership style. We cannot follow situational leadership. We cannot follow charismatic leadership. We cannot follow what you would say the type of leadership, servant leadership, or greenfield concepts. This kind of leadership is not sufficient enough to what you would say a project or to cross across the crisis period of COVID impact. So what kind of leadership needed? So new type of leadership when you're writing down, of course, you cannot follow the literature and the theories followed by the existing leadership theories, existing motivational theories, and like this. No, you cannot follow that. You have to come up with genuine reflections of a manager, and based on his difficulties and the challenges, you need to come up with that. So here the technical or business benefits and these kind of patterns you need to write, and it is a kind of guide. It is a kind of report. All right, and it can be connected with technical level. It can be connected with management decision level. Anything possible. All right, but it will be usually a solution to a problem, or introduce a new concept, or describe how to perform technical talks, and likewise. This is exactly connected to white papers. If you look into Harvard Business Review, a lot of papers are white papers coming into the picture. They are idea generation papers, and they will give you more innovative ideas, and likewise. And then the quantitative and qualitative people, they start looking upon that ideas, and they try to build up the methodologies, philosophy, all kinds of things. They do that. Another type of papers, we call it as green papers. By contrast, green papers, by contrast with the white papers, green papers which are issued much more frequently and are more open-ended. They are exactly consultant documents. And these papers may merely propose a strategy to implement in the details of the legislation. And they may also set out proposals on which the government wishes to obtain a public view or opinion. You're trying to grab the opinion coming from a consultant-like document, and you try to evaluate first of all the sufferers' challenges, and you try to develop the guidelines, and you would like to invite that attention from the government ministries or appellate authorities, or you are trying to grab from the industrial policy makers and likewise, right? Then green papers are much better, but it's not eligible for journal publication. Another type of papers you can write is called as case studies. Everybody aware about it. I'll take an example of Emerald Emerging by EMCES, Emerald Emerging Case Studies. Likewise, Emerald is publishing case studies a lot, and Willies are they, Spring, they different publishers are having the journals which may accept your case studies. But ECMCS, Emerald Marketing Emerging Case Studies, and likewise, they published a specific type of cases. There are different types of cases, like teaching cases are they, business cases are they, social and economical issues type cases are they, different types of cases are they. So usually the Emerald Emerging Marketing Case Studies and likewise, they do accept teaching cases. The teaching cases means that maybe around 5 to 6 page the case. 5 to 6 page the case, the scenario you are trying to put it across. At the same time, you will be supplying to the journal a teaching case, teaching note. Teaching note means, okay, you are going to classroom. You're going to classroom. How are you going to apply that in the classroom? This is a question. So you know one thing, after giving this document to Emerald Journal, you will be losing your, what you would say, copyright. It will be with the journal. So they don't take you any single penny for publication, but it's a business proportion. So they need to get the money for the publication. So what they do, they sell the teaching notes and the case studies. So you are not the person going to the field and going to the classroom and applying. Many teachers are purchasing that particular case studies of you, and they try to apply it in the classroom. So when they apply it in the classroom, take an example, first 15 minutes, how the case to be introduced, second 15 minutes, third 30 minutes, next 50 minutes, next 30 minutes. How you plan implementation of that case in the classroom. What do you